Namaskar, a very good morning to all of you, and welcome to our discussion on economic and social issues. As we are aware, international trade is one of the important concepts in Indian economy, and when we are discussing international trade, then we must be aware about currency exchange system. And when we discuss about currency exchange system, some of the concepts like NER, that is a nominal exchange rate, real exchange rate RER, and nominal effective exchange rate and real effective exchange rate plays an important role. So exactly what these concepts are that we are going to discuss today. Now we are aware when we speak about exchange rate is nothing but conversion of a domestic currency into foreign currency as far as foreign currency market is concerned. That means what is the relationship, what is the rate of 1 US dollar with Indian rupee, what is the exchange rate of Indian rupee with yuan, Indian rupee with yen. So the relationship between a domestic currency and a foreign currency, we call it as exchange rate. Now, related with this exchange rate, these four concepts, these four terminologies are there: NER, RER, NEER, and REER. Now, what is NER? NER is nominal exchange rate. Now, what is nominal exchange rate? As we are aware, exchange rate, that means we are comparing our currency, domestic currency, with foreign currency. Just for example, when we say 1 US dollar is equal to 74 rupees, correct? That means the present exchange rate is 1 US dollar is equal to 74. So the nominal value is 74 rupees. The nominal value is 1 US dollar. So when you compare or when you take the ratio of foreign currency with the domestic currency and whatever is the amount or whatever is the ratio, that ratio is known as nominal exchange rate. Now in this particular example, if we are comparing the nominal exchange rate of Indian rupee with US dollar, then we will say presently the foreign currency is 74 and the domestic currency is 1. So 74 is to 1 is the nominal exchange rate as far as the US dollar and Indian rupee relationship is concerned. Okay, this is one thing. Now there is another concept which is known as real exchange rate system, RER. Now in nominal exchange rate system, what we have done, as on date, presently, whatever is the value of a rupee, whatever is the value of US dollar, those values we have taken and we have taken out the ratio, and based on that, we have labeled it as nominal exchange rate. When we speak about real exchange rate, here we take into consideration the factor of inflation. So considering the inflation in United States of America, considering the inflation in India, when we take the ratio of these two currencies, we get the real exchange rate. Just for example, suppose in year 2020, I am just giving the hypothetical example. Suppose in $1 we get 1 pen, and in India also, suppose we get 1 pen in 100 rupees. And for just understanding purpose, $1 is equal to 100 rupees. That is what the kind of exchange rate is there. Now suppose after 1 year, if it happens that in year 2021 the inflation महंगाई बढ़ जाती है और महंगाई बढ़ने की वजह से भारत में वही एक पेन 200 रुपए को मिलता है, whereas in the same 1 year the inflation in United States of America is not doubled. Just हमारे example के लिए we will take it as $1.5. That means in USA, the inflation as compared to year 2020 is 1.5 times, whereas in India, the inflation is 2 times. That means though the exchange rate in 2020 was 1 is to 100, in 2021, because of change in inflation rate, महंगाई के बदल होने की वजह से अब हमें क्या दिखेगा, 1.5 divided by 200. So whatever is the calculation, if we go for that calculation, it will come up 1 is to 75. So the nominal exchange rate in this particular example in year 2020 was 1 is to 100. Whereas if we compare the real exchange rate, we are taking into consideration inflation in both these currencies. द फैक्टर ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन, महंगाई की वजह से आपके करेंसी के वैल्यू पे जो परिणाम हुआ, दोनों डोमेस्टिक करेंसी में, उसके साथ ही फॉरेन करेंसी में, उसका रेशो लेते वक्त अगर हम उसको ध्यान में लेते हैं, महंगाई के फैक्टर को ध्यान में लेते हैं, तो वी विल गेट रियल एक्सचेंज रेट. सो हाउ यू कैन कैलकुलेट रियल एक्सचेंज रेट? बाय कैलकुलेटिंग द फॉरेन प्राइस divided by domestic price. That means when I am using the word price, that means the inflation factor is considered. Okay, so the inflation factor is considered, and considering the inflation factor of both the countries, both the currencies, if we take out the ratio of both these currencies, we will get real exchange rate. So in nutshell, when we consider a nominal exchange rate, we take the value as on date. उस दिन जो कुछ कीमत है उसको हम ध्यान में लेते हैं. बट व्हेन वी कंसीडर रियल एक्सचेंज रेट, हम इन्फ्लेशन की वजह से, महंगाई की वजह से उस करेंसी में क्या बदलाव हुआ है उस फैक्टर को भी ध्यान में लेते हैं. सो नॉमिनल इज एज ऑन डेट, रियल इज इन्फ्लेशन एडजस्टेड, कंसिडरिंग द इन्फ्लेशन फैक्टर. महंगाई को ध्यान में लेते हुए जो रेशो हम दोनों करेंसीज का निकालते हैं उसे हम रियल एक्सचेंज रेट कहते हैं. नाउ सो फार सो गुड, नॉमिनल एक्सचेंज रेट, रियल एक्सचेंज रेट. There is one concept which is known as nominal effective exchange rate, that is NEER, NEER, and another concept which is known as real effective exchange rate, that is REER. By this time we are aware, nominal, that means value we are considering without considering the inflation factor. Real, that means inflation adjusted, by considering the inflation factor हम निकाल रहे हैं. Now what is exactly the meaning of effective exchange rate? That we have to consider. Now when we consider the concept of effective exchange rate, in the previous example while explaining the concept of exchange rate, we have taken the example of 1 US dollar and is equal to, for example, 74 Indian rupees. That factor we have considered. But in reality, we are aware India is not only doing the international trade with USA. India is doing the foreign trade with United Kingdom. India is doing the foreign trade with China. India is doing the foreign trade with Japan. That means certainly Indian rupee or Indian currency and its exchange rate with different foreign currencies has to be taken into consideration. Just taking into consideration the relationship between US dollar and Indian rupee, that will not give you the true picture. So when we consider the currency of 6 or 36 important countries with whom India has got the common इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड रिलेशनशिप, जिन देशों के साथ भारत देश का ज्यादा पैमाने पर व्यापार होता है, अंतरराष्ट्रीय व्यापार होता है, ऐसे 6 राष्ट्र हमने कंसीडर किए या ऐसे 36 राष्ट्र हमने कंसीडर किए, और उन सारे राष्ट्रों की करेंसी, उन सारे करेंसीज की वैल्यू हमने ली और उसका अगर हम जियोमेट्रिक एवरेज निकाले. So rather than taking only one currency, we are taking the currency of 6 countries and we are taking the value of these 6 countries, and by that we are taking out the geometric average of these 6 currencies. So that is the geometric average of these 6 currencies, and with that we are considering the domestic currency. So when we take the ratio of geometric average of 6 currencies with the domestic currency, whatever ratio we get, we call it as nominal effective exchange rate. So if you are taking into consideration 6 currencies, it will become NEER6. If you are taking the currencies of 36 different countries, then it will become NEER36, that is nominal effective exchange rate 36. So how many currencies you are considering, based on that this value will differ. And how you can calculate that? By taking the foreign currency of multiple countries, in this example 36 countries, their geometric average divided by the domestic currency. So instead of taking only USA dollar value, here we are taking the value of USA dollar, yen, renminbi and whatnot, different countries. and these different countries currency, their average, their geometric average we are taking out and we are comparing it with domestic currency. So whatever value we get, we call it as nominal effective exchange rate. Similarly, if we are taking the inflation factor into consideration, so inflation adjusted महंगाई को ध्यान में लेते हुए इन 36 कंट्रीज के हमने वहां पे करेंसी लिए, उनका जो है एवरेज निकाला, ज्योमेट्रिक एवरेज निकाला और उसका रेशो भारत के करेंसी के साथ या भारत में के प्राइस के साथ हमने किया, क्योंकि यहाँ पे इन्फ्लेशन हम कंसिडर कर रहे हैं। तो वही चीज भारत में कितने रुपए में मिलती है और वही चीज 36 कंट्रीज का एवरेज निकाल के कितने में मिलती है, उन चीजों का अगर हम करेंसी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से एवरेज निकाले या उसका रेशो निकाले तो वी विल गेट रियल इफेक्टिव एक्सचेंज रेट। सो effective exchange rate, it is a summary indicator of movements of domestic currency, our country's currency against a basket of foreign currencies, 6 36 whatever different countries currencies we are considering, उनके साथ जब हम कंपेयर करते हैं तो हमें effective exchange rate मिलता है। Nominal effective exchange rate, it is a geometric average of Indian rupee exchange rate with those of 36 foreign countries currency. And nominal effective exchange rates, the real effective exchange rate system is adjusted with CPI inflation. That means महंगाई का factor consider करके. So REER is related with inflation adjusted and NEER is related with nominal effective exchange rate system. So when you calculate these values and if you find that real effective exchange rate is more than 100, that means inflation adjusted comparison of 36 countries currencies with that of Indian countries currency price, and if you find that REER is 100, that means India's currency value as compared to other countries foreign currency is overvalued. That means there is a need of doing the devaluation if central bank takes part, or there is a need of doing depreciation by the market factors. And if REER is less than 100, that means the currency is undervalued. So if it is overvalued, there is need to do the kind of devaluation. If it is undervalued, there is a need to do the kind of revaluation. So increase in REER implies that exports will become expensive and imports will become cheaper. Why? Because the real effective exchange rate is higher. That means when we compare with the foreign currencies, our currency is overvalued, and from that point of view imports will become cheaper and exports will become expensive, right? And if such kind of scenario is there, our international trade will be affected in a negative manner. So it indicates the loss in trade competitiveness. So just 2 points you have to consider over here. If REER is more than 100, that means the domestic currency is overvalued, and if domestic currency is overvalued, exports become expensive and it gives the kind of loss in trade competitiveness to that particular country. Try to understand this particular concept. If you have understood what is REER, what is NEER, and then if you apply that knowledge, perhaps this concept would be easier for you to understand. Okay, so this is in short about the concept of NEER, REER, and NER, RER. Okay, so nominal effective exchange rate, real effective exchange rate, that means inflation adjusted effective exchange rate related with domestic currency and foreign currency. And NEER and REER, they are related with a basket of currencies, more than one currency. Okay, so REER, we consider the inflation adjusted ratio of domestic price with that of 36 or 6 foreign countries currency related price of that particular good. Okay, slightly complicated, but if you have understood the concept, then it would become easier for you to understand these four terminologies. Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you.